Hello everyone, and today I'm going to read The Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, Part 2, Chapter 20. Here we go. Chapter 20. If Miss Wowzers had been the kind of the woman who enjoyed creating sensation, she would have been richly repaid by the result of her action. A look of utter astonishment passed over Colonel Race's face as he picked up the pearls from the table. "This is most extraordinary," he said. "Will you kindly explain, Miss Wowzers?" "Of course. That's what I've come to do." Miss Wowzers settled herself comfortably in a chair. Naturally, it was a little difficult for me to decide what it was best for me to do. The family would naturally be averse to scandal of any kind, and they trusted my discretion, but the circumstances are so very unusual that it really leaves me no choice. Of course, then when you didn't find anything in the cabins, your next move would be a search of the passengers, and if the pearls were then found in my possession, it would be rather an awkward situation, and the truth would come out just the same. And just what is the truth? Did you take these pearls from Mrs. Stoll's cabin? Oh, no, Colonel Rex. Of course not. Miss Van Shaler did. Miss Van Shaler? Yes, she can't help it, you know, but she does, take things, especially jewelry. That's really why I'm always with her. It's not her health at all. It's this little idiosyncrasy. I keep on the alert, and fortunately, there's never been any trouble since I've been with her. It just means being watchful, you know. And she always hides the things she takes in the same place, rolled up in a pair of stockings, so that it makes it very simple. I look each morning. Of course, I'm a light sleeper, and I always sleep next door to her, and with the communicating door open, if it's in a hospital, it is in a hotel, so that I usually hear. Then I go after her and persuade her to go back to bed. Of course, it's been rather more difficult on the boat, but she doesn't usually do it at night. It's most just picking up things that she said left about. Of course, pearls have a great attraction for her always. Miss Wowzers ceased speaking. Race asked, "How did you discover they had been taken?" "They were in her stockings this morning. I knew who they were, of course. I've often noticed them. I went along to put them back, hoping that Mrs. Stoll wasn't up yet and hadn't discovered her loss. But there was a steward standing there, and he told me about the murder and that no one could go in. So then, you see, I was in a regular quandary. But I still hope to slip them back in the cabin later, before their absence had been noticed. I can assure you I passed a very unpleasant morning wondering what was the best thing to do. You see, the Van Shaler family is so very particular and exclusive. It would never do if things got into the newspapers, but that won't be necessary." "Will it?" Miss Wowzers really looked worried. "That depends on circumstances," said Colonel Race cautiously. "But we shall do our best for you, of course. What does Miss Van Shaler say to this?" "Oh, she'll deny it, of course. She always does. Says some wicked person had put in there. She never admits taking anything. That's why if you catch her in time, she gets back to bed like a lamb. Says she just went out to look at the moon. Something like that." "Does Miss Robson know about this failing?" "No, she doesn't. Her mother knew, But she's a very simple kind of girl, and her mother thought it best she should. Her mother thought it best she should know nothing about it. I was quite eager to dealing with Miss Van Scherer, added the competent Miss Bowden. We have to thank you, mademoiselle, for coming to us so promptly, said Porat. Miss Bowden stood up. I'm sure I hope I acted for the best. Be sure that you have. You see, what with this being a murder as well? Colonel Royce interrupted her. His voice was grave. Miss Bowdens, I am going to ask you a question, and I want to impress upon you that it has got to be answered truthfully. Miss Van Scherer is unhinged mentally to the extent of being a kleptomaniac. Has she also a tendency to homicidal mania? Miss Bowser's answer came immediately. Oh, dear me, no, nothing of that kind. You can take my word for absolutely. The old lady wouldn't hurt a fly. The reply came with such positive assurance that there seems nothing more to be said. Nevertheless, Porat did interpolate one mild inquiry. Does Miss Van Scherer suffer at all from deafness? As a matter of fact, she does. Monsieur Porat? Not so that you'd notice in any way. Not if you are speaking to her, I mean. But quite often she doesn't hear you when you come into a room. Things like that. Do you think she would have heard anyone moving about in the Miss Dollar's cabin, which is next door to her own? Oh, I shouldn't think so. Not for a minute. You see, the bank is the other side of the cabin, not even against the partition wall. No, I don't think she would have heard anything. Thank you, Miss Bowsers, Race said. Perhaps you will now go back to the dining saloon and wait with the others? He opened the door for her and watched her go down the staircase and enter the saloon. Then he shut the door and came back to the table. Porat had picked up the pearls. Well, said Race grimly, that reaction came pretty quickly. That's a very cool-headed and astute young woman, perfectly capable of holding out on us still further if she thinks it suits her book. What about Miss Marie Van Scherer now? I don't think you can eliminate her from the possible suspects. You know, she might have committed murder to get hold of those jewels. We can't take the nurse's word for it. She's all out to do the best for the family. Porat nodded in agreement. She was very busy with the pearls, running them through his fingers, holding them up to his eyes. He said, We may take it, I think. That part of old lady's story to us is true. She did look out of her cabin, and she did see Rosalie Otterburn. But I don't think she heard anything or anyone in Lynette Doyle's cabin. I think she was just peering out from her cabin, preparatory or slipping along and following the pearls. The Otterburn guards were there, then? Yes, throwing her mother's secret cache of drinking overboard. Colonel Race shook his head sympathetically. So that's it. Though tough on the young. Yes, her life has not been very gay. Que de pauvre petite Rosalie. Well, I'm glad that's being cleared up. She didn't see or hear anything? I asked her that, she responded, after a lapse of a quiet 20 seconds, that she saw nobody. Oh, Race looked alert. Yes, it is suggestive that. Race said slowly, if Lynette Doyle was shot around about 10 minutes past 1, or indeed any time after the board had quieted down, it has seemed amazing to me that no one heard that shot. I grant you that a little pistol like that wouldn't make much noise. But all the same, the boat would be deadly quiet, and any noise, even a little pop, should have been heard. But I begin to understand better now. The cabin on the forward side of hers was unoccupied, since her husband was in Dr. Besner's cabin. The one aft was occupied by the Van Scheer's woman, who was deaf. That leaves only. He paused and looked expectantly at Poirot, who nodded. The cabin next to her on the other side of the boat. In other words, Penningston. We always seem to come back to Penningston. We will come back to him presently, with the kid crops removed. Ah, yes, I am promising myself that pleasure. In the meantime, we'd better get on with our search of the boat. The pearls will make a convenient excuse, even though they have been returned. But Miss Bowers is not likely to advertise the fact. Ah, these pearls, Poirot held them up against the light once more. He stuck out his tongue and licked them. He even gingerly tried one of them between his teeth. Then, with a sigh, he threw them down on the table. Here are more complications, my friend, he said. I am not an expert or precious stones, but I have had a good deal to do with them in my time, and I am fairly certain of what I say. These pearls are only a clever imitation. This is the end of the chapter 20, and thank you for listening. Thank you. Chapter 20 is from 256 to 262. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 pages. Thank you. Well, this is really a nice place, and the earlier chapter 19, I thought Rosalie, Miss Bowser took the puff from the link, but that nurse wasn't taken. She said it's from a Van Scheer, and yes, this is very reasonable. This is very coherent, I guess. And the Miss Van Scheer is very old, and she drank at night, and maybe she have something to her. She have some kind of habit to rob somebody, something. So this is very coherent. So the missing pulse is has nothing to do with the murder still. So there's pop sound. There was a splash. So there was a splash at the night, and that was about throwing. Rosarie's throwing the alcohol bottle of Van Scheer. And this time, this missing part was from the Van Scheer. So these two crews only from a Van Scheer, and this has nothing to do with the murders. So now Van Scheer is really an annoying person to mixing up the murder cases. But we found that. So that only has a pop sound, which should be heard by somebody. But there was 3 rooms was close to the Mrs. Doyle's cabin, and one is Simon Doyle, her husband, but he was absent because he was shot and left in Dr. Besner's cabin, so that's absent. And the other room of the Miss Van Scheer, but she's deaf. Deaf means she can't hear clearly. So even if there's a shot, she don't realize it. So only one guy, if there were a guy who have heard the shoot sound, it would be Penningston, they said, the last one. So and Grace also said it's always coming to the Penningston or something. So Penningston is now most suspicious right now. But I don't remember what the Pennington values, what she did or what he was like. So I have to read the next pages carefully because I guess recent part will interview with the Pennington. Or if it isn't, we'll be more careful about the Pennington, the behavior after that. Yes, that's it. And this is really a nice chapter. And so there was 2 crews gone, and the only one is a pop sound in the night. And the Pennington might say something or not saying. It's going to ahead, and they're going to solve the problems. And now it's about 20 pages, 20 chapters over, and this part 2 have 30 chapters. So there's 10 more chapters. So I don't think this case is solved very soon because there's more 10 chapters. There's more dramas after this, I guess. Or there was something after the case is over. No, I don't think so. This case will be closed at the last chapter or at the before the last chapters. I guess this is my just guessing, but before the last chapters, chapter 29 will be the murderers are found and arrested or dead or run out. I don't know, but anyway, case will be closed, and the last chapter will be something like a explanation and goodbye things, like ending pages, I guess. So there's more pages, about 9 chapters. 9 chapters. Yes. There is some huge dramas here, I guess. Okay. Alright, thank you for listening, and I will stop here for recording chapter 19 and 10 more chapters. This is really fun. Thank you for listening. Thank you.